Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, Fiction and Flannels. So yeah, there's not going to be any jump cuts today because I am not using my mom's iPad anymore, so these are going to be unedited videos and we will see where that goes. But today we are going to be reviewing, or at least I'm going to be reviewing, To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han. So, I heard a lot about this book. It's actually my cousin's favorite book, so I was really looking forward to reading it, though I do admit I was a little hesitant because I read the book Shug, which is also by Jenny Han, and I didn't like it as much as I thought I would. I didn't really like the deep POV, like the first person point of view, where it was mostly thought, process, and less dialogue, and I also just didn't like the character Shug. Sorry, I said Shug before, but it's pronounced Shug, as in sugar. And I just thought the main character was really mean to all of her friends, and I didn't find her very likable, so I had a hard time finishing the book. But honestly, this was a really amazing book. Like, it was really cute. I love the romance. I love all the characters. They're very strong characters. Everybody adds to the plot in their own way and has their own distinct personalities. And even though it's told in the same deep first person point of view where it's mostly thoughts, I actually thought it suited this book considering the main character Laura Jean's introverted nature and the fact that she's going through so many changes. It made sense that we're kind of looking more at her thought process than the actual dialogue. Because again, she's very quiet and she's very in her own head, so it makes sense for her character. Anyways, for those of you who don't know, To All the Boys I Loved Before is about Laura Jean, who writes letters to her crushes in order to get over them. And one of these crushes is her older sister's boyfriend. And when her sister goes off to college, the letters end up getting sent out, and now Laura Jean has to deal with the consequences. And one of the ways she does this is by dating her classmate Peter, who was also one of the letter recipients, in order to deflect her feelings from Josh. And, originally I thought that was kind of a petty move, and also the fact that, she dates someone else just so someone else doesn't think she liked her. I just thought that was a little extreme, and also I didn't, using another person, but it actually played really well into the story and it was really fascinating to read. And yeah, I'll go into more of a breakdown. What I want to start out with first is just the character Laura Jean herself. I really loved her, and I think one of the reasons is just because I related to her so much. We have a lot in common. We're both middle children, we're both kind of introverted people who are super creative. We like to get in our own heads, and we're also like multi-ethnic, so I just related to a lot of things she was going through, even especially the letters part too. Like, I write a lot in my diaries, and I would always write about my crushes and how I didn't want to be in love with them, so I needed to get all the feelings out. So in many ways, that made it enjoyable to read about her. But one of the best things that I like about this book is the family. Like, I feel like in a lot of young adult novels, family gets overlooked. They kind of just exist. They don't really play an important role in the novel, but family is actually a really big part in this story and plays a huge part to the growth that Laura Jean experiences. When Margot goes off to college, there's a whole shift in their family dynamic. Margot's the more responsible, organized person who keeps the family together ever since their mom died. She's basically like a mother and a best friend to Laura Jean, so when she goes away, Laura Jean now has to take over the responsibilities that Margot has. And she has a hard time adjusting to this because, again, she's a very timid person. She doesn't really like trying new things, and she's not used to being a leader. So she struggles with this throughout the novel, feeling like she'll never be a good enough sister as Margot was. But despite this struggle, she's always fighting to overcome it. Her first thought is always, I need to do this to show Margot that I am strong. I need this so I can be a good sister to my younger sister Kitty. And I thought that was really great that she just had those strong relationships and she was always putting her family first. Even when she starts her relationship with Peter, in order to make sure that Josh doesn't know she likes her, she's thinking of her sisters because she doesn't want Margot thinking that she betrayed her, and she doesn't want her younger sister thinking that she betrayed her either because her younger sister also likes Josh. So I just really appreciated the focus on family. And I also really liked her older sister Margot because I feel like a lot of female characters in YA are very emotionally driven, which is okay, and I like that. I'm an emotionally driven person too, so I can appreciate that. But Margot is she's very logic based. She makes decisions based on what she sees as practical and is able to like push her emotions aside for what she thinks is best. And I just think that's a really cool thing to see, just something different. And it was like a quality I really admired about her. And I also appreciated how they balanced it out, not making her completely heartless. Like, she still cries when she and Josh get into a fight. It's just that she's able to put those aside and take the more mature route when it comes to it. So, again, so this book is mainly a romance, and I really like a good romance, even though they're really cheesy. And in a few ways, this book had like cliches. You know, there is a love triangle between Peter, Laura Jean, Josh, Margot, a whole love quadrangle, if you must. But I thought it was really realistically done, and it didn't feel too overwhelming. And all the relationships were really strong. And I like it because in the end, Laura Jean does make a clear decision about what she wants. You know, she realizes that, yes, she did have feelings for Josh at one point, but in the end, she is able to make a decisive decision, realizing that those feelings don't still exist and that they've now developed for Peter. And speaking of Peter, I really loved seeing their relationship grow. You know, I knew right away that they probably were going to get together in the end, and at first I kind of rolled my eyes like, oh, this is so obvious, but it was really fun watching them relate to each other. You know, Peter's a very carefree guy who cares a lot of what people think of him and really wants to impress people. And Laura Jean never misses a beat in calling him out on that. And they just do a good job at balancing each other out. Like, Peter encourages her to try new things, like to go on their class ski trip, and to just open up more and get used to being his girlfriend. And in turn, Peter gets to learn more about Laura Jean and that she's not just this shy person who never talks to anyone, but she's actually really fun and quirky and cares a lot about her family. And speaking of that, I really like how Peter interacted with her family. And, you know, he really doesn't have anything to gain from it either. Like, he knows that he and Laura Jean are planning to break up in the future because it's not a real relationship, but he still takes time to invest relationships with her family, giving Kitty rides and asking her how she's doing and like playing with her. And I just thought that really added depth to his character and made me like him a lot more and want them to end up together in the end. And the last thing I want to touch upon, this didn't play like a very huge role in the novel, but I was curious to see how it would be portrayed, and that's just how race was handled. So I said before that Laura Jean's multi-ethnic, so she's half Korean and she's half white, and I knew that going into the book, and I was wondering if that would be addressed in any way, and it is, and it does play like a pretty big role in her character building. For instance, she talks about how she always makes an effort to go out on Halloween as Asian characters like Cho Chang, because even when she tries to go as someone else, people just assume she's from an anime. And that is like a very relatable struggle for me, because I remember like I used to be afraid to go as like Tinkerbell for Halloween because I knew if I went as Tinkerbell, it wouldn't just be me going as Tinkerbell. People would be saying like, oh, you're a black Tinkerbell. It's like, no, I'm just Tinkerbell. Or another time, I went as a Monster High character, Spectre Vondergeist. I can see if I can... I don't know if I can edit a picture, but I went as her, and everyone assumed I was Nicki Minaj, so yeah, there was that. But, so yeah, I really related to that, and I think it added humanity to a character. And another moment that I really enjoyed was when one of her other letter recipients goes up to her, I think his name was Lucas, and he tells her like, oh, I appreciate what you wrote for me, but I'm gay, and I don't want you telling anybody that, not because I'm ashamed, but because I feel like I don't it's not my responsibility to like explain myself to people. And he was saying, you must understand that, you know, being biracial, you know, when people ask you what your race is, like, why do you have to define yourself? And I'm like, yes, yes, that is so true. Like, people are constantly coming up to me being like, so what race are you? And it's like, in my mind, I'm like, one, do you ever talk to me? Two, why does it matter to you? Like, why does it matter to you? Like, how will this change your perception of me, or why is this the first thing you need to know about me? You know, it's like, I'm not necessarily offended. It's just a thing that happens, and I like that she included that, and I think it added just a lot of depth to her and relatability to Laura Jean's character and made me like her and this story so much more. So yeah, thank you, Jenny Han, for including that. Maybe not everybody appreciates that, or maybe people overlook that, but I hope that, you know, she gets enough love for what she included in that. And that's all I'm gonna say for today. I still haven't watched the movie, so I might post a reaction video of the movie, or at least a discussion of what I thought about it later on, and post it later. But today, thank you for tuning in and, you know, bearing through the non-jump cut version of this. I will be back soon with a new video. I'll be back soon with a new video. Please comment, share, like, subscribe, the works, and yeah, just be you and all that wonderful stuff. Goodbye.